Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da da. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do do. May we listen for that sweet spot with all our heart.
All right. We are here for our new voice, 47 Tribe edition. Thank you to the universe for hosting this. This is your co-host with the co-most, NasT in Prime, coming in. We welcome Shanti into the space. This is a great friend, sister, teacher, healer. Welcome, Shanti.
Thank you. Thank you. Peace, peace. Thank you for having me. Yeah, happy to be here. Always happy to speak with you and build. So yes, I'm happy to be intentional about this.
So Shanti and I met just about less than a year ago at this point, but I think universally recognized each other as remembered some sort of lifetime together. And so in that vein, you know, it's a certain element within Trybe and within ancient memory that I feels like is always trying to find its way back to itself. Um, in that vein, like coming into this world as a quote unquote new soul or a new reincarnation, do you remember the first time it was when you were told that you were quote unquote a woman or a man, or one side of the polarity that we exist within?
Yes. Yeah. So for a little context, I am Haitian. So very old school Catholic upbringing. So I don't think it was a verbal telling. I feel like there was a lot of implications by, how I dress and what I should act like and what I should be like. There was a lot of, you're a girl, you have to do this. And I would say, as very young, of course, once you start going to school, they start picking your, even before that, I'm sure, but I think when I internalized it was then, getting your back to school outfits. It's all the frilly socks and the barrettes in your hair and the dresses. Um, and then as I, got a little bit older, there was some verbal expectations that that came with, the gender that um, female that I was identified with. So I said that Haitian comment because there was a lot of, you have to wake up early. You're a woman. You have to do this. You're a girl. You should do, there's a lot of gender norms that was definitely over time and slowly like embedded in me and filled with expectations of how I would move underneath that gender identity. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
You
very young.
remember? Do you remember at what time like you began to? I mean, I'm sure we all begin to understand these things for ourselves all throughout. But was it a certain time or a certain um, definition that you sort of gave to redefining that for yourself in a way that felt more balanced?
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. Because I remember in middle school, kind of being um, just being frustrated by some of the expectations that were given to me under this gender identity. Um, there was a lot of like females who wanted to be safe and to be sweet and cute, like, and it wasn't when it came to specifically like gym class, I would say. I did not like this idea that I was supposed to kind of go in concert with the rest of the females who just wanted to be pretty. That was that expectation. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be fast.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I wanted to, break out of these expectations. So definitely middle school, I would say I was always just like very competitive when it came to any kind of physical activity. Like I wanted to be as strong as boys, faster or stronger. So that was when I started to break off. I identifying as tomboy, because I just kind of resented the association of weakness with being feminine. I didn't like the color pink. I was just like kind of, that was a time where I was rejecting my my feminine expectations, if you will. So
And
yeah,
how was that
definitely.
met? Was that met with, backlash, or was it liberating, or both, or neither?
Yeah, it definitely was both. With the term tomboy specifically too, I know, just like in my family too, there's a lot of things that are associated, um, that are not necessarily associations. So the context with the word tomboy, some people took it as like, okay, she's gonna be a lesbian. We got to put this to bed, you know. So that was one way that I was met. Um, but I definitely felt celebrated because I valued being strong. So of course there were some girls who, maybe they had a crush in the gym class and they wanted to look cute for their crush. But for me, I'm like, I want to look strong for my crush. I'm gonna run past all y'all. I'm gonna hang on to this rope. I'm gonna do all this because I want to show my power. Um, so yeah, I definitely got a mixture. I didn't get like too much backlash from my peers at that time because I think we're all kind of figuring out our space. But yeah, definitely, I would say more from adults, like who are worried about what the tomboy title might lead to or be associated with.
Yeah. Do you think it helped bring more peace or harmony to the polarities within you, or the polarity, like either side of the
Mm.
coin, if you will?
For sure, definitely. I think um, I think that having that realization early on, um, kind of helped me because I would say that since I early on started like rebelling against the gender norms of being a female, I had times later in my journey where I refeminized myself, had to come back to that and be okay with my feminine energy, and then also go back to being strong again. So I've had cycles on my journey of embracing each side, um, and the closer the cycles, I mean, the closer my journey gets to who I am now, um, it became more about balancing it all in at, at the same time. Because I think I had times where I was kind of on each polar sides stronger than other times. I kind of like was like, all right, let me be strong, let me be this, and then I came back, let me be sweet, let me be soft. Um, so kind of having that dance in my life, made me find a smoother way to dance in an older life. Trying to, because definitely now I'm trying to balance it all at the same time and just kind of tune in and see which energy is needed for each moment instead of picking and choosing one way of expressing.
I hope you got your dancing shoes for that, because I heard it last lifetime,
Yes, definitely. It's like the same dance, but I'm just switching the moves up.
And I know you got the move, so.
Oh, you know.
So have you been able to identify any practices in specific that have helped you sort of build that harmony within yourself or helped you embrace both of those aspects within yourself?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yes. So I, okay, I would definitely say coming back to spirit and being an intentional being has been a big part of me being able to accept both polarities. And I'm just like, I would say I identify as a philosopher as well. I'm always trying to chew on different types of knowledge and understand self and in many different ways. Um, so like learning about just like archetypes and just embracing that I'm a multifaceted being. Um, it's not only the gender polarities, there are all kind of spectrums within me. So going on this journey of self, um, I've definitely tried to find ways to embrace and name and love and express the many facets of me. I guess specifically a spiritual facet would be just naming an archetype or naming an identity and meditating on it, like having intentional time where I think about my feminine expression or my masculine expression or any other archetypes that reside in me, whether it be through meditation. Sometimes I love to journal. I'll having some kind of prompt being like, how do you feel today? And realizing that I'm struggling in my masculine energy and embracing that and finding out what that means for me. Um, or or meditating with that has definitely helped me just realize when I need all, because it's like you need all of those aspects, right? The divine masculine energy is that action energy, the divine feminine energy is that intuition, and you move so gracefully when the two are in harmony. um, I have found, or when you find the moments in yourself that you need to activate either one in order to move from your highest self. So yeah, just getting to know them, getting to understand why they come, getting to know when it is best to implement um, actions from either space has definitely been helpful to integrate both energies into my being.
I hear you talking a lot about, just bringing that awareness, that reminder of awareness into your body. I think that's been really helpful for me as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's so necessary. Uh, you actually put me on to to this queen, Kijana, and she has been doing these like live meditations on Instagram, and that has been something recently and during like this pandemic that has been like a big reminder of like the different parts of me and naming them. It's so important like to imagine you have like these different versions in you. Like one example I can say is like your inner child, and you're just completely denying them. And if you think about like an actual child, if you're just like ignoring them, they're gonna throw a tantrum. And like a tantrum could look like, I don't know, I guess it could look like a lot of things physically, but ultimately it would look like you not acting in your full true self because you're denying a part of yourself. So yeah, definitely. This journey of awareness has been so fruitful for my journey of self and for this journey of embracing all of me.
Hey, shout out Kijana if you're listening. Big up. What has your relationship with nature or plants or Mother Earth been like at this time?
Beautiful. I love this question because I love nature and I love how I'm like, how is it connected? Like, of course it's connected. But anyways, I'm gonna just answer. It's been beautiful. It's been so good. I've always found peace in nature. I've always um, had moments where I'm losing myself, and then I end up in nature, and I'm found. So it has definitely been a healing source in my life, and especially during these times where, you know, being encouraged to shelter in home. You know, home doesn't have to be this physical brick building or walls that you're in. For me, I have found home in nature. And in plants too. I've been always like thinking about um, plants and loving the aesthetic, but never really took that leap to actually do it until I was like forced to stay home, and wanted to see more green around me, and being able to bring that into my house and care for another being that not only doesn't speak like an animal, but like doesn't even like make a sound or come in and check on you. It's all on you. It's been a beautiful journey having plants. It's motivated me to get up. There's been times where I was just like waking up, just not in my full energy, and I would see the sun shining, and I would see my lavender plant just out of the reach of the sun. And I'm like, I gotta get up. I gotta get up and make sure my lavender gets that sunlight. So so everything's right. And it's like if I didn't have that, then I might have just like stayed in bed and
My
in some
baby.
stagnant energy. Um, for this whole for longer than needed. But yeah, nature has been a motivation for me to move. It has been a place for me to just be and express, and it has been a healing source in many ways, for sure.
Most definitely. I heard you say that certain times that you feel like you've been losing yourself and you go into nature and you're able to, you know, return back to self, you know, to the extent that you're comfortable, if you want to like dive a little bit deeper into that statement.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, you know, of course we have our ebbs and flows of life. I know specifically, I think of one time that really like nailed it into my head that nature is here for me and for my healing. I had a time where I didn't have a lot of things. I lost my job. I didn't have a car. Um, my family had just lost their house. So we were in a space that was not conducive to a lot of things. So I definitely was just not there a lot. I would try to, you know, I would sleep there, but for most of the day during the summertime, I was trying to be out. So I would just take walks. I would take walks, um, and then I would like kind of find a space in nature that was like in the cut, secluded, and then I would just chill. Like it was my room. Basically, I was in a space that was so small before, and I wasn't able to express. I didn't feel like I could be. So I would go into nature and make a home. I'd bring my drinks. I'd bring some food and snacks. I'd have my music. I would dance. I'd bring my journal. I would write, all in just like some corner of a forest that was in walking distance of the place that I at that moment resided in. Um, so nature provided me a room. It provided me a home in a time where I was not home in my quote unquote home at the time. Um, so that has been so beautiful. And even more recently, just during this pandemic, there were some days early on where it was just really hard. I was just, forced to face myself being inside. So there were some mornings and some days where it was just like funky energy, like I just could not shake the funk. And luckily I have a sister who does not take that. She's like, no, I don't like this. She's like, shake it out, we're going outside, let's take a walk. And I was like, what? And sometimes I would fight her. It was so silly. Sometimes I would be such in a funk that I wanted to stay in that funk. I'd be like, nah, I'm just gonna sit here. Nah. And she did not take no for an answer. So we would go out in nature, and I'm like beaming again. And I'm like, why did I try to deny myself this healing? So yes, it's always healing for me. Like anytime I feel that funk now, I'm like, I need to touch something green. I need some herbs. I need to hug a tree. I need to forest bathe, get my feet in some dirt, something. But there's true healing there for sure.
Yeah. The funk loves staying funky. That's real.
Exactly. Yeah, the funk loves staying funky. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that really speaks volumes, though, to the downfalls of the current paradigm in which we live. The fact that, this society or society in general is claiming to be an advancement on nature, is claiming to take the natural resources and move them forward for the benefit of all man. But I think you pretty much just summed it up, that you feel more at home in nature than you do in conventional society. And it's like, why is that paradigm the case?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so true what you say. It's like there's supposed to be these like big feats, these big tasks, like look, we created more technology that separates you from what you came from, Um, it's definitely interesting. And I just always think about like if my ancestors were doing it, like they were thriving. There was times where there was no technology, and all these people had, for context, was the stars and the moon, and that's how they moved. And they were like, so there's some stuff that was created in that time that we still don't even understand how they did. And all they had was the stars and nature as tools and guides. And all we've done is created things that take us further away from it. um, and I mean, there's a lot of clear, blatant disempowering going on. So I know that goes hand in hand. They're trying to take us away from the source of power, for sure.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, we know, if you look back at how we moved back then, there's a knowledge that we were tapped into without any of this technology, and it is still available to us.
Yeah. You see the Western world, extracting natural resources to build these quantum computers. It's like you go to the Dogon tribe and they already figured out everything that a quantum computer has to tell them, because the stars and the earth is the best quantum computer there is.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm always on this tip, but like I recently watched a whole bunch of documentaries about like the pyramids and the Egyptians, and like it's crazy like to think about that, the fact that they still don't even fully understand how they did this, like how they created such precise uh, uh, buildings. I mean, buildings, you could say it's a lot of things if you want to go down that road. But and without the knowledge that we have, and we have all this technology, we're supposed to be all ahead and advanced, and we still can't figure out what they did without our technology, um, that just speaks, they got that knowledge, they get that bag of knowledge, they know, and nature provides.
Yeah, it's the best thing they I remember in elementary school, I think it was, where like all the kids are like nah, how did they do that then? Like I don't believe what you're telling, like how? And they're like slavery and pushing them on logs. And we're just like, nah, like no, that wasn't how it was. Like
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
even being that young and all the kids just being so skeptical of the explanation that the teacher was giving us.
yeah, exactly, right? And like when you get older and older too and realize all the knowledge that they're just like keeping from you too, it's like, why? Like I remember, I mean, a little bit of a side tangent, but like I'm, like I said, I'm Haitian, and I remember looking in the history books for research about Haiti. I'm like, why isn't Haiti in this book? They don't want you to know about the revolution. It was like I remember looking for information and slowly finding stuff over time. Like first it was just like not in there. Then they're like, yeah, Haiti did some shit. And then later they delved into it. So I'm like, what? Why are you slowly releasing information about history? Like, well, yeah, it's interesting what they decide to teach. Hmm.
Yep. Whose story? Shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Whose story?
So any other gems you want to drop on them about, you know?
Yeah. Um, man, no, it's definitely um it's definitely can be hard in this society, and especially for other sensitive, empathetic beings like myself, um, to really discern like what is of self and what is not. You know, so there's a lot of ingraining, even just like in commercials and in the way we are taught and the way we're raised of like how we should be, which boxes we should fit. Like the theme is that we are easily consumable if we are in just like some, I don't know, they want us to present in a way that they can predict or something. So anything that is too heavy for them, I don't know, they're not trying to promote that. But for me, I find power in being able to um, gain a sense of self and understanding of self outside of these boxes. So I would just express the importance of checking in. I think the more I learn myself, the more I learn that I need to check in with myself, check in and make sure that um, I'm not letting all of the indoctrination from society like seep into my decision making for my own personal life. Um, yeah, embrace the duality, embrace all the facets, embrace all the aspects of you for you, because that's who you have at the end of the night, at the end of the day. You know, we're here on the self journey, and the best way to heal the world is to heal ourselves. So, bam, that's
Wow.
that's what I got to say.
Drop mic. Wow.
Exactly. That's, you know what it is. That's what that was.
Shanti, how can people find you if they listen to this and they really resonate with what you was talking about? How can they find you and reach out and just say, thank you or whatever people want to say?
Yes, yes. So follow my IG, Shanti_GC. Um, that's probably the best way. I mean, I'm on Facebook as well. Um, but yeah, Instagram is the best. If you want to shoot me an email as well, it's Shanti at massrecouncil.com. So yeah, holla at
Drop that
me.
in the description as well. So
Yes, yes, yes. I would love to talk. I love questions and yeah. holler. Let's dive.
Shanti, thank you so much for joining this space. Shout out to the Most High for containing this healing journey and being with us always. And blessings and love, everybody.
Yes, thank you for having me. Always appreciative of your energy. Thank you for thinking of me. Yes, much love. I appreciate this so much.
Love, love, love.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da da. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do do. May we listen for that sweet spot with all our heart.